Matansi Mpuga Nsamba awamu n'omuntu we balabiddwako ku kitebe kya National Unity Platform wano e Makerere Kavule. Baganda bange, mikwano gyange, kyennyinza bagamba olunaku olwaleero ennaku z'omwezi ziri 28 omwezi tuli mugwa kumeka omwezi tuli mugwa 10 mwaka 2023. Akabanga kabadde kagenderedde ng'omukulu Matansi Mpuga Nsamba takyajja ku kitebe kyaffe wano ekya National Platform n'olunaku olwaleero alabiddwako ku kitebe kyaffe wano. Tumugamba tuyogayoga tusanyuse nnyo okulaba era netumwaniriza mu kitiibwa nga bwe tulina okumwaniriza, naye ne twebuuza ebibuuzo bingi. Mu kaseera kano nga gavumenti eyagala kwefunza buli kimu, nga yagala kwefunza emmwanyi Munnayuganda mwabadde afuna kasente akawera, era nga baagala okikola bati tulaba ebusoga kiro ya toni ya bikajjo yabeeranga ku 2.2 bwe twogera kati abasajja bagifeebya eri ku 15,000. Kale kyewuunyisa nnyo yabeeranga ku 25,000 naye abasajja bagifeebya kati eri ku 15,000. Kyewuunyisa nnyo, naye Katonda atalya nguzi abeerawo bannayuganda naffe ajja tubeerawo, naddala omuganda wa wano ayagala okulaba nga Uganda ekyuka. Kankuwa obubaka ate leero Mpuga bwawadde nga tulwana okulaba nga emmwanyi yaffe etuddira. Tuli wano ku kitebe kya National Unity Platform.
It's because of our numbers in Parliament, in the caucus, that I managed to be elected a chairperson. Therefore, I give first accountability to my president and to the party. That's why I'm going to explain how far this is taken. Now, coffee. Why coffee? Coffee today is grown by 12.5 million Ugandans. They are in the coffee sector. Coffee today, this financial year alone, and Uganda net earnings $1.4 billion. 1.4 billion translated in shillings is nearly 5 trillion Uganda shillings. That's so remarkable. And why today? So when we are speaking about coffee, we are not speaking about any other crop. 2, coffee transcends Uganda. It's a national crop. Actually, there is a type of coffee that is not grown in Uganda at all. That is the Arabic coffee. It is grown in part of Western Uganda and in the Bugisu region. But even today, coffee has transited the ordinary boundaries. It's no longer grown in Bugisu, in the of Rwenzori, no. Acholi, Nsonga, West Nile, and all other regions. Actually, today, the most upcoming region in growing coffee is Western Uganda. Therefore, when we are speaking about coffee, we are speaking about Uganda in totality. So what's a crisis in Parliament? In Parliament, we are now dealing with the very big government of Uganda did not come up with the policy of rationalization. My 10 years as the Shadow Minister for Finance, we made a case that government was too big, duplicating so many roles, being extravagant, and in our manifesto, we advocated for a lean, efficient government bureaucracy. So it's actually a National Unity Platform that has delivered the agenda for cleaning up the extravagance in government. And we should clap for ourselves. Therefore, there is nothing like the government was with, because it is President Yoweri himself, no, it is General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni who abolished all these other things, coffee marketing board, whatever. Therefore, General Museveni should not lay a claim that is the grandfather of rationalization. It is actually assumed the case. Now, from our standpoint, we are not totally against rationalization of agencies. And in Parliament, Honorable President, Your Excellency, we have supported almost 90% of agencies that have been rationalized. And led by the able leadership of our leader of opposition, Honorable Joel Osanyoni, we've been able to support various bills. But for every rule, there is an exception. Even the government agencies, even the agencies to be privatized, to be rationalized by government, it's not all of them. Some have remained. The National Oil Company, the National Oil Authority, including Kampala State Council Authority. If they want to talk about duplication, let's go to Kampala State Council. They have a minister and a deputy minister. They have an executive director. They have a good mayor. They have a speaker, a very powerful speaker. So if they wanted to proud out duplication, they should have started with the KCCA and taken away all the ministers and blah blah, and go back to the mayor being the head of that institution. But that's not to be the case, and we're not making that case. And they said the National Uganda Revenue Authority. By the way, Uganda Revenue Authority is also an agency that was created of late. It is also under the Ministry of Finance. Therefore, rationalization is not omnibus. So there are some agencies that needs to be spared. Now, why do we make a case for coffee? We grow coffee, export coffee, but we are not a hugely a coffee consuming country. Ethiopia grows more coffee than us, but Ethiopia consumes a lot of coffee internally. Nearly 90% and almost 95% of our coffee is for export. The countries where we export coffee have become very keen because of the new non-communicable diseases on what they are. So when you export to a country accredits you and satisfies you that the quality of the product you have exported, and for them they have imported, they are to a standard which will not cause health issues to their citizens. Therefore, for coffee, they accredited the Uganda Coffee Development Authority to have the power, to have the stamp, it's the only authority that stamps every bag of coffee that gets exported out of this country. And when that accreditation is withdrawn, you can no longer export your product to some particular country. Therefore, the struggle one is that if you dissolve, because Section 4 of the bill talks about dissolving UCDA. But let me tell the country, the talk of 3 years being marketed is not anywhere in the bill. The bill does not in any way talk about 4 years. They are talking about a dissolution of coffee, UCDA, instantly. When you dissolve, instantly, you lose the accreditation. When you lose the accreditation, you can no longer export coffee. And therefore, this move by government, I don't know in which phase, is to ensure that the new wealth that has come up with adding up to 5 trillion is to really collapse the coffee. So we are telling the president, one, best practices for coffee. We're not the only coffee growing country. Ethiopia does, Kenya does, Brazil does, Honduras does, Vietnam does, Cambodia does, and a host of other countries. Now, the global market in its unique way for coffee is that coffee, not in any country, is being done through a main ministry. It is through an agency model. An agency model is like you have a special purpose vehicle for marketing coffee and growing coffee. And the thing about coffee export is about the quality of your coffee. However, the quality of coffee is not determined at export level. It is determined right from the nursery bed to how you organize your plantations, to how you harvest your coffee, how you dry it, how you roast it, and how you pack it, and how you export it. So along that value chain, you need a 24-hour monitoring capability by a specific agency dedicated to ensure that at no stage, at every stage, you have to get it right. Therefore, when you crowd out coffee and dissolve the UCDA and you put coffee in the Ministry of Agriculture, which has all agricultural products, which has tea, tobacco, ware, vanilla, blah, blah, you may lose that eagle eye for detail. And therefore, you may affect the quality of our coffee. Now, for those countries, it is a question of a random sample. When you export containers of coffee, they just pick a container and say, we are going to check this one. Once they check one, and it's not up to standard, they reject the whole consignment. Not the whole consignment, they review. Therefore, if you want to rationalize coffee and rationalize UCDA, you are removing an agency that has built expertise, capability, and knowledge, and the marketing capacity to market our coffee. And consequently, you will do so. We are not the first country to try to do what the government is trying to do. Ethiopia tried. Kenya, our neighbors, tried. They abolished their coffee board and coffee authorities and mainstreamed coffee into the main ministry. In 3 years, they had lost 50% of their coffee exports. Common sense, once beaten, twice shy. If Kenya tried it and failed, and they are reverting back, they reverted back to the government, to the agency model, why do you want to reinvent the wheel? Why do you want to try something that has failed elsewhere? We are simply telling government, please, don't do so. It's been tried elsewhere and found wanting. Secondly, if UCDA, because the argument of General 7 is that it is the Operation Wealth Creation that has led to this success, that is a wrong assumption. There have been so many, they could have played a small role. Operation Wealth Creation was only at the distribution of seedling stage. Seedlings they were distributing were coming from nursery beds that had been monitored and prepared, organized by UCDA. And from there afterwards, it is UCDA that has been taking over. Therefore, and also the case is, Operation Wealth Creation was not only for coffee. It was for vanilla, it was for mango, it was for limawa, it was for many other things. Let them show us the success of those. Let them show us success, how they've succeeded. Now, the Minister of Agriculture, the people from Chisoro, Kanungu, the Minister of Agriculture, solely has been undertaking our team. What happened to our team? We lost accreditation. We cannot export as Uganda tea. What happens? We age our tea on the Kenyan market and it's bought by Kenyans, packed Uganda tea, packed and stamped Kenya and exported to the world. It has been under the watchful eye of the Ministry of Agriculture. They fed on fish until they are to put in the military. They fed on any. I've asked the Ministry of Agriculture to give us one crop which they can give us to build the confidence as the benchmark where they have succeeded. Absolutely none. Therefore, we are saying this agency, by the way, in addition to being a chairperson of Ghana Parliamentary Caucus, I also chair Public Affairs Committee. Still part of this paper, of this what? This party. And I've just made a very fundamental report, SP, for the national economy, to which government up to now is struggling to put a response. But that's for another day. I've just audited the Ministry of Agriculture. This is the ministry that is in intensive care. It it is on oxygen. It is very, very sick ministry. It cannot score a plus on anything. It scores on the minuses. And therefore, this sick ministry, you cannot entrust it with your health what? Baby. Now, the president of the party, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, said in the morning, asked me to come and explain to you why the parliamentary stand, why is the caucus. By the way, give due regards to our leader of opposition. For the first time in the history of Parliament, for as long as I've been there for 10 years, about 10, 12 years. For the first time, Honorable Robert, Right Honorable Joel Ssegona was able to write a minimum number of MPs that are required to challenge a decision of the Speaker. Because of the Speaker has been using that window of I, and nay, and pass dubious things from today. That is all the record set by Joel Ssegona will not permit the Speaker of Parliament to pass any other resolution which is anti-people without people voting and without us knowing who has voted. So they will not hide that eyes have it, noise have it, no. We will just stand out, front of us and say, let's go to the vote. If the matter is that contentious, we will not do it on every other bill. But so that we give that Parliament. I think thanks to the National Unity Platform and our leadership that we got that minister power for which Right Honorable Speaker Anita Among has been hiding to pass dubious budgets, dubious expenditure, where we can now have the number and the courage to challenge it. That's not a minor's achievement. Mr. President, also, I want to make, because finally, we are saying our position as a caucus is that don't rationalize, don't abolish UCDA. Rationalization means abolishing. Dissolving. Section 4 of the bill says we shall dissolve UCDA. We are saying basic practices of goodwill is to do it through agency. And the president, Mr. President, you can no longer, and I think Museveni is going to be hooked on this one properly. If he believes in it, he should wait. Mr. President, in the next 12 months, we shall find you down in the trenches. And on coffee, he's going to lose totally. So we are in it for a long haul. It's not an issue I'm going to give up. It will not stop on, even if the martial numbers, this one, we will struggle and take it to the people of Uganda and we tell the president, hands off. Actually, there has been a propaganda, which I will use, Mr. President, in a minute to debunk. The propaganda is that the president called me on the question of UCDA. The president did not call me. Led by the able leadership of the leader of opposition, we agreed to do everything to talk to anybody to save coffee. So in the morning, we decided to meet the Speaker of Parliament and make our case. By the way, let us struggle to go to power. You plead with these people as if we are pleading with the angels on simple, obvious things. So in the morning, the Speaker knows. The caucus met the Speaker. And in the meeting, we made a case. The Speaker said, "Party people are damn right, but my hands are tied. I'm sent to do this job by the president. And how many ministers as well? A little bit dishonest. Without seeking the opinion of the caucus, she called the president. There and there, said, Mr. President, the caucus is here. It has made a good case. We think this bill is wrong, and therefore it should be removed. That is their view. And without even saying, Chairman, here is the president. Here is General Museveni. So there were two things I could do: to refuse, and when I refused, she would have said, it's you and the chair of caucus who refused to speak to General Museveni. So what do? I said, okay, give me that General Museveni. Immediately said, you want to do, go to Muganda. Womututu obuzabuza abantu osigama wanga okola biki muli eyo mubuzabuza abantu temutegeera. Very crude and becoming of a president for someone he has never talked to. Then I said, okay, Mr. President, for me I come from Butambala. When I meet a stranger, I greet him with salam. Okay, salam alaikum. Then he realized that civil people don't start addressing others so cruelly. And he sobered up. I said, now, okay, now I hear you now. What are you saying? I told him, Mr. President, what the hell do you want our country for? I gave him all the rationale. I said, my government will not accept your propaganda, you are misleading people. I told him, Mr. President, you will accept. I used it now, you can't call the President General. I said, General President, our stand at the caucus. Our stand at the coffee growing community in Uganda, leave UCDA alone. And the business was closed. He said, you go to hell. You are just another radical Uganda. That's why
Nsonga zinaba comment nzibalekedde.
God is good. All the time God is what? Now the country did not know that this law had been brought to target a particular tribe. Until the Speaker of Parliament, on the floor of Parliament, now reviewed, she forgot to switch off the mic. That's why God was fighting for the people of Uganda. She forgot to switch off the what? The mic. And made the blood of all brothers. By the way, in other countries, if it had happened in Europe, in everywhere, Anita Mom would have resigned yesterday. Good things happened. A Speaker of Parliament, when you were appointed by the, for example, I'm a chairperson of Uganda Parliamentary Caucus. Much as I'm NUP, I have other members of caucus who are not NUP. I have members of caucus of NRM, of DP, of CP, of independence, as long as they come from what? This region. So when I'm in that chair, I don't necessarily take the national unity position. I try to, even if it's a national unity position, I try to market it. But I try to try as much as possible to be neutral. Because that's the leadership code of what? Conduct. Now, the Speaker of Parliament is stopped by our rules of procedure to participate, to debate on a matter on the floor. But for her now to take side and say, do we have numbers? That means she had a side. Then used the staff of Parliament to say, please ensure these Uganda don't get the numbers. Now, the Speaker of Parliament in Uganda, we have the anti-sectarian law. So the Speaker of Parliament abused the anti-sectarian law, and as day follows night, when Parliament resumes, tomorrow we are sitting as a caucus again to review our stand, but we don't think two things. We don't think Speaker Anita Mom can no longer preside over that Parliament where they are gone. Because she's not going to take us away. Is she going to take us away? We are there for that. Secondly, you said, told her, if we really want, offer an equivocal apology to the people of Uganda and to the people of Uganda. Something I've said, if you fail to do so, resign. The next action I want to reveal it here, I need to first approve with our members, which we are the idea we have. We are saying we may, if she insists. But be as it may, we will ensure Parliament does not proceed on any other matter until that one is resolved. That is our stand. Finally, in English, the President wrote the other day that we are trying. That the people, now, of the things I've said about of what is tried there. But let us examine President Museveni on tribalism, where he has the moral authority whatsoever to call any group tribal. This is the President, so to say. for the first time, who appointed her wife a minister. His wife a minister. His son a CPM. His brother a small president. He is back home, running the judiciary, running the coffee. Now, can he talk about the tribe? For him, he's even beyond the tribe. He's a family. But also let us examine. If he doesn't have a conspiracy, because at the end of the day, I read the caucus, if he doesn't have a conspiracy against the people of Uganda, Vice President, he says, is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, under his regime. Deputy is who? Alupu. Speaker, Anita who? Vice Speaker, Thomas who? Chief Justice, Prime Minister, there are 4. One is Nabanja, she's from Buoro. Deputy is Moses Sali. Third is Rebecca Kadaga. Another one is Nakadam. Let's go to the historic appointments. Chief of Defense Forces, Mwozi who? Chief of Police, Abbas who? Chief of Prisons who? Piarasaija. So where do you, Mr. President, get the moral authority? You, General Kaguta Museveni, to say a particular group is sectarian. You should go and sleep over that. Then on coffee, so we have debunked his notion of tribalism. Then on coffee, sensible analogy. Some people, Abedwan and others, have been trying to market some idea that we dismissed as a caucus. And let me stand here. 3 years, 5 years is not the position of the caucus. The position of caucus is for non-dissolution of UCDA. I've given a crude example for clarity. Can you take a virgin woman and say, let me keep you there, you are still virgin, that somehow you'll get a man, and along the way, you'll be pregnant, but you'll give birth in 3 months. You must be a crazy person. Therefore, 3 years don't mean anything. For us, we are saying coffee is too big a crop to be under the Ministry of Agriculture. It's too big a crop to be under the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are going to do everything possible. But remember, members of the National Platform and the country, MPs are not enough. You people, I thank each of you who have been on social media, who have been using every platform, every media to amplify this message. Please, thank you so much. But let's do more. Tomorrow we shall announce an action plan on how we are going to fight this issue for the next 1 or 2 weeks. It is half time. It could be 1-0, but there's still another half to play for. There is still clause 4 for which you are going to resist. Clause 4 is for dissolution of UCDA, the caucus, and other members. And please, do a roll call of all members of the Uganda caucus who never attended the meeting. Where were they? Each of them must account. Where were you when the coffee was being taken? Yes. Mr. President, I thank you so much, Your Excellency. Muganda kantandikira Yekomoma. Mwasijja kulwawo. Ekyogera ddala President tasobola kujja wano takyalina moral authority General Museveni. Museveni takyalina moral authority kuyita muntu yenna tribal. Teri ali tribal gwe kusingayo Museveni. Gwasinga okuba tribal. Gwe President wa Uganda yakasooka okulonda mukyalawo n'omufuula minisita. N'olonda mutabani we tayiti akulira amagye. Muganda wo General Musale y'omu kati alinga naye President omuto. N'akwata bakoddomi be kati mpulira mukoddomi we omulwawo ogwo ngenda basomera wano kampani zemanyi okumanya Museveni alimba lowooza tuli badongo.
Museveni fala.
We twogerera yamaze dda okucontractinga ebitongole ebimu okutunda emmwanyi. era ngenda bibagulira wano nga mala mutegereke ekimutwaze Mwanyi ajjawo UCDA kugisa mu Nsonga agiwe peneti kugisa mu Nsonga agiwe ki lwabo yamaze okukola endagaano ne kampani y'Abachina Chinese Construction Company okugenda okutunda emmwanyi wa eChina ekinavaamu nti emmwanyi zijja kukola ebbeeyi ku faamu y'omulima n'olwekyo tukirekya ku Mr. President tukuwidde mutabani naye gavumenti yo tewalonda General Museveni katugitunulemu bweba Abaganda tebalinaako kikyamu olaba omusajja oyo Ssaabasajja nga mugagga nga mulwadde ng'ayagala okukyanjabya ng'abanja gavumenti ya General Museveni bilioni 2.5 teyasobola dde okumuwaako bilioni 5 musajja watu yekyanjabya omutya omulwadde alwadde akubanja n'otamuwa ssente n'otamusasula ki ssente ze naye nekyala walonda kabineti katugitunulemu ssebo omumyukawo alupo Sipiika Palamenti ko bayisa mu kokasiyo ayitamu tayewa ya myuka omulamuzi Winidolo ba Prime Minister bali bana bade ye Winidolo ba Prime Minister bali bana asooka amudira Moses Ali aba mu Westinali amudira Rebecca Kadaga Musoga owokusatu Nakadama Musoga sima Baganda bakola ki Butera ye Deputy Chief Justice Butera ne mubaroya nakusomya amateeka wano tofunayo wadde n'omu ogwakale beerako omumyuka waki wa Chief Justice n'ogenda n'olonda amagye n'ogawa muhozi Kanyerigoba n'olonda poliisi n'ogiwa baasi n'ogenda n'olonda ki prison n'ogiwa byaki byabasajja